Today I want to announce that I'm resuming work on EarthBucks 2.0. So for a brief sort of background for people not already familiar, EarthBucks is a blockchain that I created that emerges out of many facts in the history of the cryptocurrency industry that, amongst other things, revolve around the block size debate in the history of Bitcoin. Long story short, Bitcoin was forked in 2017 to create something called Bitcoin Cash. I was involved lightly at the time as I created a company that was based on Bitcoin Cash. Fast forward to the present day, Bitcoin Cash continues to live on as one of the biggest blockchains in terms of the ecosystem and price and things like this to this day. However, as much as I like Bitcoin Cash and agree with some of the basic ideas there, it's my conviction that Satoshi made a big mistake early on in the history of Bitcoin in not creating a governance mechanism for Bitcoin. So I don't want to explain the full background here, my full thoughts on this, other than to say that it is my opinion that we need to create a new blockchain. So I created EarthBucks. So EarthBucks is a UTXO style blockchain, somewhat similar to Bitcoin, but with some fundamental differences. The biggest difference being it is governed by a company. So although it is my intention to make sure that the money part of it is decentralized, basically you should be able to have your keys on your computer and validate your own transactions. It is not my opinion that normal people should be running a node. And in fact, it is not my opinion that that even needs to be open source. It should be open protocol, the protocol that different nodes use to interact with one another, primarily the protocol that wallets and exchanges need to use to interface with the miners. That needs to be completely public and open protocol. But the software that the mines use doesn't need to be open protocol. In fact, it shouldn't be, because we need to make sure that there's a governance structure in place that can make decisions and move similar to any company. So EarthBucks is governed by a company. I'm creating a new company called AstroHacker. That is the governing body that oversees EarthBucks as well as my other projects. So part of the vision for EarthBucks is, again, this kind of comes back to this whole block size war that occurred in Bitcoin now many years ago. It's been about 9 years ago, almost 9 years since this happened. We not only are we changing the governance structure, but we're changing some technical qualities about how it works as well, because it's my opinion that we do need to change some things. So again, long story short, without diving into too many details here, so EarthBucks was launched in late 2024. I'm now taking everything to the next level. So I'm building the peer-to-peer network for EarthBucks. The mines will be, I'm going to keep this kind of mostly hidden from the user, but I'm working on the next generation of the software where the mines will connect over a peer-to-peer network. The user experience isn't going to change very much, but you will be able to access EarthBucks on other websites is kind of the biggest thing. We're basically going to be making it possible for other wallet software in exchange to actually integrate EarthBucks. So anyway, I think that's enough background. I hope that that sounds interesting to you. If it doesn't, I'll work on the marketing material later. But for now, I just want to give a brief overview. On the left-hand side, we're looking at the new code. And I actually created all this code this weekend. So thanks to AI, I'm able to move very fast at some of these things. So I already have multiple libraries for EarthBucks that I wrote myself, mostly without the use of, well, I shouldn't say mostly. I did use AI because I used GitHub Copilot, but it was of a totally different character than the new sort of AI tools that I'm now able to use. So because I have abundant code that I already wrote, I'm able to re-implement this stuff with lightning speed. So this weekend, I re-implemented the entire EarthBucks library in Rust based on the TypeScript library. There already was an earlier Rust library that I also used as a reference. But I was able to create a complete implementation of the EarthBucks library, as you can see on the left-hand side here. These are just all the files of the new library, and I'm just showing in the background, there's one of the files here. So I implemented all that this weekend with AI, where I would have Codex write the files and then have Claude review it and then do this in a loop and go through and do the entire thing. So this is a critical first step to make the Rust-based mine software possible. So I'm going to be moving on from this library to the actual Rust code that will be the mine software. And then we're going to pivot the main app. The main app will continue to function, and I'm going to make I'm going to make sure it keeps working the whole way. So although EarthBucks 2.0 will be kind of a major upgrade, the main website at earthbucks.com will continue to function before, during, and after. So it will make sure it's a 100% seamless transition to the new software. One other thing I want to mention about this, so I'm going to be adding in Bitcoin Cash support. So the reason why I'm doing this is I've described on the blog previously and have described to the EarthBucks community. I think Bitcoin Cash, because of the whole history of Bitcoin Cash with Bitcoin and myself, that plays a part in this, and so does the fact that it's simply very useful. It's low fees, it's got a big market, and the people know who I am. Some of them do anyway. I think it's going to be helpful if we tie EarthBucks to Bitcoin Cash. So basically what I currently plan to do is there's going to be so there's already an EarthBucks wallet at earthbucks.com, of course. There is also going to be a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and we're going to make it easy to trade one for the other. So you'll just be able to, I'm probably going to add in an atomic swap feature where you can do an atomic swap for EarthBucks to Bitcoin Cash. And so that would make it possible for people to start trading with one another and create a market value for EarthBucks. And then my plan is for the foreseeable future to basically support EarthBucks and Bitcoin Cash side by side in the main product, for the foreseeable future. So I guess that's it. So you can check it out at earthbucks.com. I'll have information as I work on this. One more thought. So I announced this at ryanxcharles.com and astrohacker.com and earthbucks.com. Astrohacker is the new label. So what we're going to see is not only am I working on EarthBucks 2.0, but I'm building a suite of apps and tools that all plug together and work together, and we'll be using EarthBucks as money. So we can use it sort of as, I guess you could say it's sort of like an API token for all the apps that I'm creating. And that's basically how we'll look at it. You can use EarthBucks to pay for the other features of other apps that I'm creating now. Okay, I think that's enough for today. I'll share more information with time. Thank you very much for listening. Please check out my websites at astrohacker.com, earthbucks.com, and ryanxcharles.com. Thank you very much for listening.